All right, guys. Fuller coming to you with another video. So, the thing is, one thing I notice, and this seems to be a trend a lot of the time, and it just seems to be a trend it just seems to be growing for some reason. Well, I kind of have an idea of the reason, but you have a lot of influencers who are proclaimed Christians, who are proclaimed trying to spread the gospel and things of that nature. They're trying to spread it, and the thing is they try to spread it by bashing Islam. The thing is this: if you are going to spread something, right, you should do it off the merit of what that thing has to offer. You shouldn't do it off the merit of that you have to bash another belief system in order to get your point across. But that seems to be the case more and more as you look on these Instagram streets, as you look on these TikTok streets, and as you look at these clubhouse spaces as well. Now you have a couple of guys, one being Richard Lorenzo, who, tries to look like a Muslim, has a big beard and things like that, but obviously can't control his eating habits since I guess that evangelical money pays pretty well that he gets from unsuspected people. And then also another thing that you find, this is one thing you find a lot, is that you find that people will sometimes fake. They'll sometimes fake being a former Muslim in order to get their point across. They'll sometimes fake because they know that monetarily it's going to provide benefit if they do so. The thing is also you have different groups of people who do it. You have the white evangelical who does it and will talk about, will try to basically, I guess you can say, tarnish the Prophet alayhi salatu salam's name in different ways that he can. They just have different ways of tarnishing his name. You know what I mean? That seems to be the order of the day. You know what I mean? That seems to be the order of the day, is that they trash the Prophet alayhi salatu salam's name, basically. Now, with that being said, right, with this being said, you have another group of people as well, and that's the African evangelical that will also tarnish Islam's name, most of them coming from Ethiopia and Nigeria, two heavily having some significant Christian populations there. And they'll go off the notion of the quote unquote Arab slave trade. Now, I don't really want to go into debunking the Arab slave trade because it's already been debunked by African scholars, even such as Sheikh Anta Diop. May Allah have mercy on him. I don't really want to go into that, but I just want to go into the fact that it was financed and it was operated by Europeans. I'll just leave it at that. Take it how you want it, basically. Now, the one thing that is kind of, the one double standard that I don't get, and it kind of just upsets me because I really have no control over it. Allah is Kulli Shay'in Qadir. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is letting these things happen. You know, if Allah wanted to, he can just put a stop to it right away. You know, we saw that with Charlie Kirk, that he put a stop to that right away, and he used the means of another person to put a stop to it right away. You know, now the thing is about Islam is it's being attacked at every corner. It's being attacked by the liberals, right? The conservatives, the Pan-Africanists, the Hoteps. It's being attacked by all these different entities. And we Muslims are to blame for these attacks because of the simple fact that a lot of us don't stand on business. Me myself, I like to stand on business. So, like, even what happened with Donald Trump saying that bad things will happen in Afghanistan if they don't give back the air base, the new Afghan government said we're ready to fight for another 20 years if you try anything. So I agree with them in that, you know what I mean? Another issue that we have is the importation of American exceptionalism, or let's just say in a broader term, white exceptionalism into Islam. You have a lot of these white converts who try to reinvent the wheel, and then it ends up deforming the religion because they think they know better than the people who pave the way for the religion. And that's not true at all, especially if you don't have any command of the Arabic language. Especially if you don't know that Arabic words can have, I want to say, different meanings, So you compound all these things together and you realize that we're kind of at a handicap right now, And I think the issue is that we have kind of like this fear, and unfortunately we also have this thing that we think that by integrating yourself into like something that is obviously unhealthy, that it's going to provide and it's going to be better for you. An example of this is seen with Myron Gaines, a guy from a Sudanese background who himself said he is non-religious. You would think that he would be pushing the faith forward. You would think that he would talk about the issues in Sudan, but he has not uttered a word. No, instead, he wants to engage in the gender war, basically, and he wants to entertain people that basically do not like him, okay? And the reason why these things are happening is because they themselves don't want you to know your history. They themselves don't want you to, they don't like the potential which things have. Because if you look at all the Muslim countries, right? The countries that have Muslims as a significant population, be it Nigeria, be it Senegal, be it Mali, be it Chad, be it Sudan, be it Algeria, be it Maghreb, be it Libya, be it Masr, be it all or any other place that has a significant Muslim population. They also have one other thing in common, and that's natural resources. That's something that the West needs to survive. So, with this being said, we're at a handicap because the West knows that if leadership was put into place that follow the true orthodox teachings of Islam, that there would be no need for them and we would be holding the cards in a lot of in a lot of places. When you look at the history as well, right? More often than not, Muslims put belt to ass. When you look at the fact that, the Timurid dynasty put belt to ass in a lot of Christian kingdoms, the Seljuks put belt to ass while taking, Palestine back. The Ayyubids put belt to ass taking Palestine back. The Mamluks put belt to ass taking Palestine back as well. You see these things, and you see these things, and you realize that, okay, you realize who really has the upper hand in these matters. You know what I mean? But then on top of that, and I'm gonna end this video. On this note. But on top of that, you look at what true Islam stands for. True Islam is egalitarian. Bilal, for example, a black man of Yemeni descent through his father, and then Abyssinian descent through his mother, he married Abdul Rahman ibn Auf's sister, who was a prominent Arab. Abdul Rahman ibn Auf, he was prominent Arab. Bilal married his sister. You look at, let's see who else. You look at the Prophet Muhammad himself, upon him be peace. He took Maria al-Qubtiyya, may Allah be pleased with her, as a wife. And where was she from? She was Nubian. You look at, for example, Ubaidah ibn Samit, may Allah be more pleased with him, who was a jet black, dark-skinned Arab man, who was responsible for opening up Egypt when it was under control of, I think, I want to say some Greeks maybe, or maybe it was Romans at the time. I don't know, really. The thing is, you see the fact that, a lot of times in the true Islam, your merit was based upon your knowledge, and your merit was based upon your color. What wasn't based upon your color, but it was based on your knowledge, and it was based on like your actions and things like that. So with that being said, this is where we're at in this situation. This is where we are, And then you look at the fact, for example, and me personally, I'm not attracted to white women from America, Britain, Canada, France, Spain, Portugal, Italy, Scandinavian countries. I'm not attracted to white women from there. And when it comes to, the white women in Eastern Europe, I'm not even attracted to them. I'm attracted to the indigenous Muslim women of Eastern Europe who happen to have become integrated into the larger Slavic or Baltic, or let's just say Balkan space. That's who I'm attracted to. But when it comes to the others, no, I'm not. I can care less about them. But let's just say one is attracted to them. Islam, the true Islam, will have no problem with you having one of them as your wife, based on merit, based on your character. And I say this to say because, you have people in Arkansas who made a white-only town And the funny thing about it is that a lot of it is rooted in insecurity, you know. I mean, they talk about like white values and stuff like that, and Christian values. And the thing is if we look at white Christian values, we'll realize that most of it is rooted in genocide, land theft, exploitation, and things like that. And they'll tell you that, oh, have a Protestant work ethic. Okay, you guys never had that work ethic. That's why you see like the majority of movers and shakers basically are not coming from them. They would like to let it think that it comes from them, but it's really not. You know, it's coming from other people. So with these things being said, we're at an interesting place right now. Unfortunately, it's a very bad place right now because a lot of the Muslim women bought into what they were selling, and some Muslim men bought into what they were selling too, because unfortunately you have I want to say you have you know even this one South Asian Muslim man who proclaims that he's 9AY. Then you have Muslim women supporting it, and you have, of course, you have even a white tranny Muslim who says that it was looking for a husband as well. So you have all these different dynamics going on. And so for anybody who wants to hold on to the real thing, it becomes like an uphill battle. You're dealing with just like a really uphill battle because of what these people are doing. I want to say something too. I'm going to end this with this. The argument, and I try not to argue with these people on IG or on Clubhouse, but the argument is that other races of people are insecure about white excellence. And as a matter of fact, I would not want to be born white, okay? Like the whole thing is, the more I read about history of other people, especially reading about these Kazakhs, I realized that these people were even more brilliant than advertised. It's just that they don't like to brag about it. That's the main thing. They don't like to brag about it. They like to chill and go about their business. But when I read about the likes of their heroes and things like that, especially the ones who, have influence in shaping the countries, I realize, okay, these are not normal people. These people were singled out by God. They just, for some reason, think that we're jealous, or there's nothing to be jealous of, bro. Like, that's just the bottom line. I have no reason to be jealous of you guys. Even if this is a tribe to the south of my tribe, even if it is a tribe to the south of my tribe, there's one tribe in, I guess you can say, Midwest Nigeria, that they had, before colonialism, they had a wall longer than the Great Wall of China. They had palm oil lamps, I think, that lit the streets or something like that. So with this being said, it's like, I don't have anything to be jealous of, Although it's an adjacent tribe to mine, we still share the same skin tone. And I'm just going to end on this note. The problem too, the ultimate problem that with Islam and the attacks on Islam is the attacks are led mostly by women. Okay? And so women are easily swayed. And so what happens is they turn the women against us, when all we're trying to do is follow the deen to the best of our ability as men. And then on top of that, you have you have, because I hate to say it, they're having population decline. You have the fact that they'll say, okay, if we're not having babies, if we're dysfunctional, everybody has to be dysfunctional and not have kids. So and so we need to, unfortunately, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And me personally, I don't think this work will be done until the Mahdi alayhi salam comes back. I hope this benefited people, and I'm off until the next one. Who is signing out? Inshallah.